Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again from finally wet North Carolina, where we have actually had rain here. So can't believe it. That doesn't mean the drought's broken by any means, but we have had some moisture coming through, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more in some of those creeks and springs, particularly down here on the southern section of the trail, will get recharged. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute, but let's go ahead and get on with the 2019 Appalachian Trail Thru Hiker update. So the best I can track is that we have had Sobo coming through Harper's Ferry number 116, and that was Goat and Show Off, and that is actually a guy and dog team that have come through, and Show Off being the pup. We've had several dog teams. You'll remember hiking with Era, that dog team that came through. Or might I say canine team. So we'll keep tracking him and see how Goat and Show Off does, and keep bringing you updates about that. But they were number 116. Not everybody goes through Harper's Ferry. You may recall from my video of my hike through the northern section of the Great Smoky Mountains, where I came across Beanpot, and Beanpot didn't even bother to go by Harper's Ferry and get a number. So not everybody does that. But so far we're somewhere around probably a little more than 116 folks that have come through, that have made it all the way to Katahdin to Harper's Ferry. So folks that we've actually had summited up at Katahdin over the past week that we have been able to track, we are up around over 1,100 folks. So as a matter of fact, the furthest number that I've been able to find is number 1,115, and that is by TBD. So that brings us somewhere around 34% of the folks that have registered, which is 3,300 that officially registered for their Nobo hike, have finished. So that's certainly a record, and far and above all the records that we've had in the past. So great job, 2019. We've still got some folks that are summiting at Katahdin, and of course we got folks that are heading towards Springer and are summited down there. So congratulations to all those folks. A couple of the people that we had summit at Katahdin had a call in or write in, and that was Hygiena and Bach summited. They summited on September 20th. We also had Graffiti Child, we had Greg, and we had the team of Pipes and Sweat Lodge that summited. We also had Desiree and Lunchbox. So I've had some folks ask me about Lunchbox in the past, and so Lunchbox, if this is the one you're asking about, and here's his picture, as are the other pictures of those folks that summited, then Lunchbox did indeed summit it. Now the folks that have finished their hike and summited at Springer, we have Buckles and Twinkle Toes. And those are folks, if you'll recall, that I met on my trip, the northern section through the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And so they summited. We also had Glucose, Blister, Jockey, and Frenchie. And here's this is a picture of them, and that's from left to right. That's in order. So that's Glucose. I met him. Blister, I met him. Didn't have the honor of meeting Jockey, but I also met Frenchie. And Blister was number 2 at Harper's Ferry, and Frenchie was number 3 at Harper's Ferry. So congratulations to those folks. And then also Beanpot, he was a day or two in front of those folks, and so congratulations to you, Beanpot. So I'm sure there's other folks out there. If you know of some other folks that I have left off, and I'm sure I have, then please let me know. We want to give them credit and get their names up here and their summit pictures as well, and also like to have their summit numbers if at all possible. But be sure to leave a comment down there of some other folks that you might know that have done that, or some folks that are getting ready to summit. We want to keep track of them too. So winter's starting to get set in. It's getting pretty chilly up north. For those folks that are still up north, not too many of them now, but there are a few. So I'm sure by now they are sleeping with their batteries and their headlamps and their Sawyer squeeze and water and all that stuff that might freeze and because of their phones and cause damage. So if you're up north, I'd say probably north of Harper's Ferry, you need to go ahead and start doing that. But down south, hadn't quite got that cool yet. Partnership Shelter there in Virginia at mile marker 528. The weather this coming week, you're going to have nighttime rain on Tuesday, as well as rain on Wednesday. And your daytime temps are going to be in the 50s to the 60s, with your night times being in the low 40s to the high 30s. And pretty much it's that same way for most of the shelters down in the South. So Cosby Knob Shelter in the Smokies, you're gonna have the same thing. You're gonna have some rain on Tuesday night and Wednesday, and your daytime temps are gonna be in the 50s and 60s, as well as your highs, your daytime or nighttime lows are gonna be in the 40s to the high 30s. And likewise for Rock Gap and Franklin, North Carolina. Maybe just a little warmer down south, but particularly in Virginia shelters, you might want to go ahead and start sleeping with those with your batteries and your phones and your Sawyer squeeze. It's not gotten chilly enough to where your socks and stuff are going to freeze, but the frost will mess up your Sawyer squeeze. If it gets cold enough to frost, it'll mess it up. That is the voice of experience right there. So the leading edge of the hiker bubble in the South is down around in Georgia now. And so they are somewhere getting ready to finish up. You know, Georgia doesn't take too long to get through Georgia, short state, so we ought to see a lot of SOBOs finishing up here in the near future. However, when I went hiking last year on an extended about a 4-night trip on the AT, and that was way down south, this was in February. I actually ran into some folks in February that were finishing up their SOBO. So that happens. Quicksand on the trail, he's up north, and he's probably going to finish up in January. There's folks that do finish late, and sometimes they go home in the winter if it gets too rough out there, and they come back and finish up. You know, Katahdin opens later in the year, and so they have plenty of time to come back and actually in fairly not so chilly weather, not necessarily warm, but maybe warm weather, but they can go ahead and finish their SOBO hike then. So after the 22nd of October, there's no camping in Baxter State Park. So I went and looked at the reservations that you can do online for Katahdin Stream Campground, where most folks stay. And indeed, after October 22nd, the campgrounds are all X'd out. You will not be able to get reservations, so you'll have to camp outside of the park. And then Baxter recommends that you finish your hike prior to the 15th, because after the 15th, there's a possibility that if the Hunt Trail system gets snowed over or iced over, that they will shut it down, and the other trails that lead up to the summit of Katahdin, and you won't be able to finish your hike. So if you're up in that area, get going by all means, and be sure to finish your hike if at all possible. Hikers on the trail, we got updates for Hawk. He is in New York State. Been having a little bit of trouble with his phone, but I think he's got that figured out by now. Champ, he's in New Hampshire on his flip-flop. And of course, Hawk is on the SOBO journey of his yo-yo. So he's already summited Katahdin, coming back to summit Springer. Quicksand, he is somewhere in Pennsylvania, around Strasburg. He had a broken pack that he took from a bad fall. He also hurt his elbow, and so he was waiting on a new pack to come in, or parts and pieces for his broken pack. And so he may be back on the trail now. I'm not sure, but I know that that's got to be a downer for him. So go to his channel and go to his Instagram, and let's keep him pumped up and let him know we're out there still looking out for him, and still cheering him on all the way back down to Springer. Swan Dive, she should be through Virginia and possibly in North Carolina if she's not somewhere right around the North Carolina-Tennessee border. And Super Squirrel and Polar Bear, they are through Round Mountain Highlands, and they should be in North Carolina by now. So if I missed your update, you want me to include that update, please go to my Facebook page, where we have all the listings for everybody's Facebook page and YouTube account and Instagram account, and that's Facebook page is Rambino Roaming the Trails, and you can go there, leave me a message, and that way we'll keep it private. I'll make sure that I don't tell everybody exactly where folks are, just for hiker safety. Some news from the trail. Last week we reported that the trail around James River had been closed, particularly at the James River Bridge, because of a fire. That area now has reopened. And something that's really important is hunting season, particularly down here in the south and in the middle sections, and really all up down the trail. Hunting season, though, is starting to get in full swing. So that's bear, deer, what have you. You might want to get some type of hunter orange and put on top of your pack. I'm sure that it has happened on the Appalachian Trail. The little bit of time that I had to do some research, I couldn't find where AT thru hikers had been shot, but there have been other hikers shot and killed last year and or wounded on other trails. So you might want to get something that's bright. Red, hunter orange works best because hunters are tuned in to looking for hunter orange, but we don't want anybody mistaken for anything out there, anything other than a human being. The ATC still has us under drought conditions, even though we just had a cold and rain front come through the south down here, but they still got us under that. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park, they still have a ban for all fires, so you're not supposed to have any fires at the shelters. And in Georgia and Virginia, there's still many springs and even creeks that are dry. Hopefully this rain we had come through will recharge them somewhat, but it won't take much for those to go right back down if they got recharged at all. And Roll Mountain Highlands area was very low on water, as was Southern Virginia and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So you're going to have a longer water carriers on your trips now, particularly down south, so be sure that you are prepared for that. Bear reports, we've still got bear reports listed for Georgia, the Great Smoky Mountains around Cosby Knob Shelter, and Southwest Virginia there around Grayson Highlands and the Mount Rogers area. So we've still got cautions out for those areas, so make sure we're practicing getting our food bags and even our packs up off the ground, the recommended amount to get those up out of the way of bears. Folks, that's a quick update for you. The updates are getting shorter and shorter because we got less and less people out there on the trail. As hiker season comes to a conclusion here, the main hiker season does for the Appalachian Trail 2019 thru hikers. So I'll be getting some more videos. If you didn't go and see my latest video on my section hike through the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, go and check that out. I'll leave a link up there to it, and that was just day one, so I've got a couple more days to do. And then this week I will also be coming out with tracking and what we're going to be doing for the 2020 Appalachian Trail thru hiker. So look forward to getting that to you and hearing back from you. If you got anything ideas, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment in the comment section, hit that subscribe button so you'll get my updates. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here.